last year was a pivotal year for Tri-County to get the construction project approved by the Ministry of Long-Term Care. I would say we spent the bulk of last fiscal year working on design. We redesigned the building twice in the last year. We went out for 4 different cost consultant reports on the project, and then we had to run through 3 steps with the ministry for the final approval to construct, which came in January.
We had to pass on information from our history to be analyzed, as specifically focusing on the Nithview world and planning for the future. So we held 2 fundraising events. We held our 2nd annual Cow Patty Bingo event, which was a great way to connect with the local community here in New Hamburg. We also held a large event, our largest ever actually, in November at the Puttycombe House with Daryl Sittler, who was the former captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He came in and spoke to over 200 people. It's something that we're going to be looking forward to having again in the future, so keep your eyes open for what's up next.
The approval to construct is the hardest part of this project by far. I spent many days in downtown Toronto at the crack of dawn waiting for people outside of their offices as they arrived with their coffee in hand, asking them for support, trying to get political figures to actually back our project as well. The main steps that happened before a final approval to construct were a licensing approval by the province to actually build 160 new beds here in New Hamburg. The second step was called a development agreement, which was the political sign-off, the political will to actually execute that decision. And then the final approval to construct was a combination of a building permit, the meeting of provincial standards around long-term care, and then of course we had to satisfy the building department that we knew what we were doing as well.
We did a lot of analysis on the information, a lot of information gathering, working with an external organization to help do the projections for the future and make sure that the project was going to be viable. Also ensuring that our cash flow was going to be good now, handling the additional costs of a new build and preparing for the future.
It seems to make sense that we need seniors care, but convincing people where it will be located and how to get that done and that we're the organization to trust to do that, that took a lot of finagling. The other piece has to do with finance. It's not a cheap endeavor, and so it took a lot of effort to get the finances organized, and we're still working on some details behind that, but certainly making sure that we could afford to do things and set the company up for future success doing that. And I guess the third one was the internal buy-in. It was getting the teams to understand the work that needed to be done to design a net new long-term care home.
Part of the design process for me was attending the design meetings and kind of being that voice of operational needs and the do's and don'ts and kind of how the current building runs and how we'd like to see it run in the new building as well.
The tender process was long and arduous, so it started with several thousand pages of documents that outlined everything from where the light bulbs were going to go in the ceiling to where receptacles would be on the wall, where sinks would be located, step heights, engineering. We then went out and found some incredible contractors who wanted to sort of endure the journey with us, I guess is the best way to put it, to do that work. And we settled on one in the end, and we're working with Malo Blamey as a contractor. First of all, they're local from Kitchener-Waterloo, which is fabulous for us. But I think more importantly, they were the ones who really stepped forward and had experience in the long-term care sector and knew how to build and work in an environment where seniors who were very interested in construction could watch safely while the work was being done. So we broke ground on this project in the 3rd week of February of 2025, and it is anticipated to run about 30 months, so June timeframe roughly of 2027.
So it started with Malo Blamey coming to site, hoarding off the site, securing it, making it safe, and then they began clearing the site with trees, leveling some ground, and then the process from there started the next phase of excavating and beginning the civil servicing of the site. And then from there on, they started to excavate in the northwest end of the building, where the building's going, and they began to pour the foundations and the supports for that side of the building. I believe in the next few months you'll start to see the foundation and the concrete side of things start to creep towards the current building. Getting that basic footprint done with the concrete and the supports and everything, I think that'll actually show everyone the size of the building that we're going to be building. So the target is 30 months from February, so that puts us into the summer, fall of 2027. And then the need between now and then would be to start thinking of furnishing the building, getting its fixtures, the equipment started. That will be a process that we'll be beginning in the fall of this year.
The strength of a not-for-profit comes from its volunteer base and also from its fundraising base in the community. And so anyone who wants to see this dream move forward, there are lots of opportunities for fundraising and donation to the project itself. The equipment, the programs, the supports and services that will be inside the building once it's erected. And of course, if anyone would like to give me a call or come down to the offices here and talk about what the art of the possible looks like from a donor's perspective or what we're looking to do, we're always open to those conversations.
We encourage your donations to assist us because it's not just helping people now, it's going to be helping people for decades to come. So we want you to be able to go and make a long-lasting impact to our community.
Thank you to the community for staying the course with us. It has been a long journey to get to the point where groundbreaking has happened. And stick around with us. 2.5 years will go by before you blink, and we'll be having a ribbon cutting and moving into a brand new home.